You're listening to The Rough Draft, a not-so-average personal development podcast for purpose-driven women ready to rewrite their story. It's a show about evolution, changing narratives, and rewriting our life's rough drafts. I interview some of the world's top female leaders in business, energetics, love, relationships, money, and personal power about their humble beginnings and shifts that got them here. I'm your host, Sabrina Greer, writer, speaker, book publisher, serial entrepreneur, and mentor to women in life and business. Let's rewrite. Welcome back to the Rough Draft podcast. I'm excited for my guest today. I have Diane Cole, the one and only. I'm going to start by introducing you, and then we're going to jump right in. Okay. Diane Cole is a licensed therapist, trauma specialist, and founder who is redefining what it means to heal after hardship. She works at the powerful intersection of trauma recovery, neurological reprogramming, and abundant psychology, helping people not just survive their past, but rewire their future. Through her framework, Heartbundance, Diane shows survivors of emotional and relational trauma how to transform old wounds into new possibilities. Her approach blends cutting-edge neuroscience with practical, soulful strategies that make healing not only accessible, but empowering. And you are going to meet her today and meet her book, Heartbundance, the art and science of healing after heartbreak. Hello, Diane, and welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's so great to have you here. You know, I get to work with these amazing people, yourself included, on such an intimate level. And for me to be able to share you with the world just feels like such a gift. And I'm so grateful for it.
Working with you has been a gift. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's just so good. And when there's this level of like excitement and passion and, you know, all the things, it really shows. And we were just chatting before the show actually about how this process is very similar to giving birth, right? It's like,
which we both have a lot of experience with.
Yes, exactly. And it's so true because like there's so much love that goes into it, so much devotion, so much passion. It's not, you know, it's not just plopping something up on, you know, Amazon that you made with AI and, you know, edited with spell check and then self-published it. And I think I'm seeing a lot of that happen now. Like everyone and their sister is an author, and that's great. I love that the ability to amplify voices is more accessible than ever, but it also dilutes how powerful some people's messages are. And that's what I really want to highlight today. Like this book is, yes, it is art. Yes, it is science, but it's your life's work. Like it's your body of work that you've been building for decades. So let's start there. You know, tell us a bit about yourself, like maybe the non-bio version, like the real Diane behind the curtains, Diane, and how this book sort of came into your orbit.
Sure. It is funny being here with you, having written this book. I am a licensed therapist. I'm also a trauma specialist. And I think that a lot of people that are therapists, it was what they always wanted to do. You know, like they knew from when they were young that they wanted to be a therapist, that they had a calling for this. I was not that person. So life happened to me and for me, I can say now, as a middle-aged woman with a little bit more life and wisdom, that life happened for me. But things happened that paved the way that this was just, I kind of like tripped and fell and all of a sudden was studying psychology and, oh, counseling feels like a good fit. And during my younger years, I was in some abusive relationships, and I'm very open about that. It's in the book as well. I talk about it. And I think that, you know, as I did become a professional counselor and saw people for therapy, I even then didn't think that I would specialize in that area. But I think that having so much of a clinical background in trauma and also the personal experience in abusive relationships really helped me have this in-depth understanding of what it was like and what it felt like far after you ended that relationship, how you still had to shed these layers of what happened. And all of that is what led me to write this book.
That's amazing because I heard something the other day. So I'm actually studying trauma as well. So I'm also one of those people who, publishing was never my like calling. My guidance counselor in high school wasn't like, you'll be a publisher one day, nor did I ever, it wasn't even on my radar. I didn't think it was possible. I went into psychology. I thought I was going, like, I have a degree in developmental psychology. I thought I was going to be a social worker or a therapist or something in that field. Like I did have that calling. And, I'm only sort of moving back into that world now and studying trauma. And one of my professors the other day said something that it stood out for me. And she said, we are wounded healers. I was like, oh, that's really interesting because it's true. It's like when you've experienced trauma, you have a different outlook on it. And if you are an empathetic person as well, you have the ability to help people walk through it, walk through what you've already walked through without re-triggering yourself, without re-traumatizing yourself. And I feel like that's what this book really is. It's you walking with the reader shoulder to shoulder through what they're experiencing through your own words, through your own experiences. And it's really, really powerful. And, I hope our readers understand that, there's no shame in picking up a book like this. I'm trying to really dispose of the category self-help. I feel like the words self-help have this stigma attached. Same with mental health and all of these things. They have the stigma attached. But really, what this book is it's a gift. It is a gift that helps you feel seen, helps you feel heard, and gives you permission to own your own story. Do you want to talk a little bit about, because I know you work with trauma informed manifestation. What is trauma informed manifestation? Can you share a little bit about what that actually means? Because we hear manifestation all the time and it's become a little bit like mainstream and a little trendy. So I'd love to just sort of hear your take on that.
Yeah. So I have a personal interest in manifestation, and obviously, being a trauma specialist, I help people who are starting a new chapter after either a toxic relationship, after decades with highly critical or abusive parents, or maybe there's a single incident trauma that I help them with, right? Regardless of any of those origins of trauma, they're trying to build a new chapter, perhaps a new life after. So they want to heal and then rebuild. And these are actually two different things. So when someone heals the initial trauma or the what we call the symptoms of PTSD or hypervigilance or fear that's going to happen again, that is very worthy and very important on its own. But then there's so much more that's available to trauma survivors in terms of the fear programming or scarcity programming that's caused by the trauma that then gets in the way of them believing that they're worthy of that thing they want to manifest, that it's actually available for them, that it could happen for them, right? And all of those things, the worthiness, the belief, and the possibility, those are the foundations of manifesting something for themselves, no matter what that is, whether it's an aligned romantic partner, whether it's a promotion, whether it's a business they want to start. So for me, working very closely with trauma survivors, there's always been a humongous frustration at mainstream manifestation because they're just saying, just convince yourself that you're worthy and then it will happen. But if you have deep trauma programming down on a neurological level, you can't just skip over that to believe that you are worthy. And a lot of very well-meaning manifestation gurus and experts, they don't understand that. And it's not because they're trying to lead anyone astray. They just simply, it's not what they do. And we can't expect them to be neurological experts. What I started doing was really seeing how the neuroplasticity of trauma was interfering with manifestation, and then from that lens helping people to not just heal but open up the manifestation floodgates after trauma in a different way than what the mainstream manifestation gurus talk about. And I call it trauma informed manifestation. And essentially what that is, you start to reprogram your sense of worthiness, your sense of possibility, and your sense that this can and will happen for you. And once you're able to do that on this deep level, those manifestation floodgates are open to trauma survivors again. But if a trauma survivor tries to do it in that other way and just force themselves to believe in their worthiness, they just keep hitting resistance and then thinking that it's just not going to happen for them. And that grinds my gears. It totally can happen for them if they just do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think it's so important because truly we all have some level of trauma, right? I really believe that. Like trauma is a bruise, trauma is a gash, trauma is a concussion. There's different severities of trauma. And I think that makes this book relatable to anyone. Like you don't need to have survived something. You don't need to be diagnosed with PTSD. You don't
Right.
need to have a complex background to pick up this book. So I think it's important to know that like we all have had some level of trauma, and it's important to view manifestation through that lens, I think, for anyone. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like who is this book for? And like who is the right person to pick it up?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, everyone has had some degree of trauma. And what trauma is it's a fear response, right? It's something that that shocks you to your core, that's a soul injury. And I don't know anyone, unfortunately, that hasn't had some type of soul injury. And the vast majority of us have been through difficult relationships, whether it was a family member or a romantic partner. I've even done a lot of work with people that had very toxic bosses, for example. So when I'm out in the world and I describe what I do, and everyone's like, oh, everyone needs you, which is really nice to say, but it's because these are human, relatable experiences that we have. I wrote this book for someone who feels like they have deep programming of a pain in their heart, a love wound, or a soul injury that continues to make resistance to creating the life that they want to have. And that's who this person is for. And to your point, and thank you for saying that, because that's exactly what I wanted the book to be. I really take someone by the hand in this book, metaphorically, and I show them everything I know about this process. This is what happened in your brain. Here's how I can help you to understand it, because understanding it is one of the steps to transmuting it. Here's what you can do specifically to disentangle yourself from this soul injury. And then once you are able to do that and get some emotional and healing, some distance away from that soul injury, here's the next step with these specific trauma-informed manifestation strategies to create what you want to create in your life with as little internal resistance as possible. And I think
Yeah,
anyone who's interested in any of that, this would be the book for them.
absolutely. Yeah, I believe it's for everyone. It's an easy read, it's a powerful read, it's helpful, it's intelligent, like it's science and art. together. You say it right in the subtitle, The Art and Science of Healing After Heartbreak. And it is through trauma-informed manifestation that you do that. You mentioned something about like heart wounds and soul injuries. Can you dive a little deeper into that for someone who's maybe new with this type of terminology? Like what exactly is that? Like deeper.
Sure. I am very broad when I say that because there is so much diversity in this, right? All of us have extremely unique experiences, lives, relationships. And so I am on purpose very broad in that because what the specifics of it can vary, right? But a heart wound can be a highly critical parent or a cold and unloving or distant parent, or it can be a relationship that had emotional or physical or some type of abuse, right? It can be a relationship where you perpetually and chronically had to focus on your partner's needs over your own, right? It can be a single incident trauma where you felt heartbreak because of what you went through, right? It could be any of these things, right? And so often when it's relationship oriented, that's what I would call a love wound because it actually impacts your heart. But let's be honest, a car accident can impact your heart too, in different ways. But a soul injury could be where you're feeling hopeless because something happened, where your faith in the world or humanity has been questioned, right? So those what those things are, but the specifics of it are like snowflakes, right? There's no two flake. Well, they say there's no two snowflakes that are alike, but I'm not sure because I've never actually done that research. But I can tell you that there are no two trauma stories that are alike, right? And in the book, it's not like a formula, like, oh, you've been through this exact thing, here's what to do. Instead, I'm giving you all of these tools and all these perspectives and all of this information with which I'm holding up a mirror that the reader can understand themselves more, right? And the more self-awareness and understanding paired with that information that specifically can help in terms of healing trauma, in terms of nervous system regulation, in terms of trauma-informed manifestation. And then it can be that tool that can really help them to actually see significant change and not being blocked to create what they want to create and the love they want to have and the business they want to have and just the life that they want to have or just the sense of peace that they want to achieve in their life.
I felt that one. Peace. Isn't that
That's
something we
honestly the
all want?
biggest thing, yeah,
Yeah.
for the people I work with. Like, of course they want all the things, but like mostly they just want to feel at peace.
Yeah. And oftentimes trauma is something that blocks that feeling, that peace,
Right.
right? It's,
Hmm.
yeah. Oh, I love it. Well, I'm so excited for this book to be birthed into the world. Today, October 28th, is like, here it is. Here it is. So we're going to link the links to purchase the book in the show notes. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh my gosh, I need that. I want peace. I want to learn how to manifest and heal my trauma and work through my love wounds and my heart wounds and my soul injuries and all of these powerful things, then go get your copy today. It is a beautiful book. It is a like beautifully written book. It's all the things. If there was something you wanted to leave with our listeners today that we haven't talked about, what would that be?
Don't let mainstream self-help or manifestation take you away from your own intuitive wisdom about what you need for you. And if you've tried mainstream manifestation and it hasn't worked for you, it doesn't mean you're not a powerful manifester. Your time is coming. You just might need to see how you can do it differently because we are all powerful manifestors, all of us.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here and for writing this book and for trusting us with the publication of this book and putting it out into the world. And I know it's just the beginning. So if our listeners want to find you other than Heartbundance, where is the best place to do that?
So I am on Instagram and TikTok at the Diane Cole, only because Diane Cole was already taken. So I added that the in there. I'm on Facebook also under my name, Diane Cole. Yeah, that's the best way to find me.
Perfect. And we'll link all of that in the show notes as well. Well,
Thank you.
listeners, thank you, Diane, for being here. And thank you for tuning in. Until next time.